everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Nina, and today we're diving deep into the psychology behind gatekeeping. I think we've all had our fair share of miserable experiences with gatekeepers, especially those of us who are fans of rock and metal, where we mention the name of a band that we like to someone who's really into them, and it's like all of a sudden we trigger this musical interrogation. Or they just immediately need us to know that they are the bigger fan, that they knew about the band before they got big and how they've seen every single show ever. And when taken to extremes, this type of behavior can be incredibly obnoxious and just really annoying. But why do people do this? Well, believe it or not, gatekeeping is not just about wanting to feel superior or simply being a musical elitist. It's actually rooted in a combination of personality traits and psychological factors, some of which are totally understandable, even though the behavior itself can be incredibly irritating to other people. So let's break it down. I want to first talk about the psychological factors at play, and then I want to dive into which personality types are most likely to become a gatekeeper. So starting with the actual psychology, I think some of the biggest factors that play here are identity and belonging. People don't just listen to music. We really do attach ourselves to it and even define ourselves by it sometimes. It becomes a part of who we are, and it can be deeply tied to our sense of self-worth. It can influence everything from how we think to how we dress to even what type of people that we like and relate to. So when a specific band or genre or underground scene starts to suddenly blow up, we can feel like our identity is almost being diluted or actually being threatened. Like we used to be part of this small elite club that is now becoming mainstream and a lot less exclusive. And when music is a core part of our identity, it can feel really important to us to prove to other people that we are an authority on it, because doing so reinforces our self-image and our status within the fan group. Now, another thing that can play into this is something called the in-group versus out-group mentality. So in other words, most gatekeepers have a desire to somehow protect their in-group, the people that they consider to be the true fans, and keep out all the people that they think are posers or just casual listeners, because they don't even think that they deserve to be able to listen to this band or be a part of this genre, because they don't think that they are knowledgeable enough about the music, or they don't have the right look or the right lifestyle, or for whatever reason they feel like they simply haven't earned the right to be a part of this community. I also think that a lot of times people feel like when music becomes too popular that it starts to lose its authenticity or its artistic integrity because it becomes part of the machine and starts to get really commercialized. And a lot of times fans will blame that on the actual artist. They will call them sellouts. But other times they just try to keep as many people out of the scene as possible because they think that's going to somehow prevent that from happening. And then there's the factors of nostalgia and resistance to change. Sometimes we get really into a band or genre at a particular moment in time, maybe when it was still underground. So if that music starts to evolve or it starts to reach a new audience, it can also feel really threatening because it disrupts our sense of ownership and our special connection to that music. So to be fair, there is actually a lot going on behind the scenes for a gatekeeper that extends well beyond just being an elitist. But now let's talk about personality, because as I mentioned earlier, some people are just naturally more prone to gatekeeping based on their personality traits alone, specifically when they score really high in openness to experience, but really low in agreeableness. So what do I mean by this? Well, we can assess someone's personality using various psychological models, but one of the most widely accepted is the 5-factor model, and these are two of the traits that we measure, the other ones being conscientiousness, extroversion, and neuroticism, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Now, someone that scores high in openness to experience is going to tend to be intellectually curious, imaginative, and usually enjoy new experiences. And for the most part, they enjoy art, culture, and diverse perspectives. Music lovers, especially those that like really novel, complex, or extreme music, almost always score really high in this trait. So that is not surprising at all, and it is not at all problematic until we start to combine it with that low agreeableness. People low in this trait are usually pretty competitive, skeptical, and sometimes even confrontational. They tend to prioritize their own opinions and perspectives and can be a lot less willing to consider or accommodate those of others. So in other words, they usually have really strong opinions and they don't really care what other people think of them. If they think that you have really bad taste in music, they are definitely going to let you know. And if they don't think that you deserve to like some band that they like, then they are going to make that known as well. And that is why when we combine being really high in openness to experience, but being really low in agreeableness, we come up with a personality profile that is definitely prone to gatekeeping. And all of this can be magnified even further if this person also scores high in neuroticism, which is characterized by the tendency to experience negative emotions more frequently and more intensely than others. It basically gauges how emotionally reactive and sensitive someone is, which can, of course, make them even more defensive, nostalgic, and protective over their music because they have this strong emotional connection that makes them feel really, really possessive. So again, when all of these factors combine, it just creates this perfect storm for gatekeeping. Now, knowing all of this is probably not going to make gatekeeping any less annoying to experience, but hopefully this helps to shed some light on the behavior itself, and I would love to keep the conversation going in the comments, so please let me know if you agree with this analysis and what I missed, and what your experiences have been with gatekeeping on either side of the fence. I want to thank you so much for watching today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you in the next video.